everyone. I am Dr. Cindy Howard, your host of the Positively Altered podcast. I am a chiropractic internist and nutritionist, and I love to have conversations that are raw, transparent, and, fun at the end of the day that will positively alter you. So today I am super excited for a guest because I was actually her guest on her podcast, and that's how I met her. So a little role reversal today. And what's also exciting is where I thought I overcame some pretty tough adversity. When you meet my guest, Jan, you're going to see that, wow, I think she may have a story that even tops mine. And yet her attitude is right up there with me and how we overcome adversity. So, real quick, go grab something to drink, but make sure you take a quick listen because my sponsors are going to tell you a little something about themselves, and they're super important to me. And then we're going to be right back, and I will introduce you to today's guest.
Hello, my name is Heather Lord, and I am the COO of Professional Health Products. Cutting corners is an all too common practice in the dietary supplement industry. When my father founded Professional Health Products, he sourced the cleanest, most biologically active ingredients from around the globe. Today, that commitment remains, which is why the finest healthcare practitioners, like Dr. Cindy, have trusted us for more than 40 years. We oversee the entire process in our manufacturing facility, from sourcing and formulation to manufacturing and labeling. Today, we offer over 300 unique products that can be tailored to the nutritional and homeopathic needs of each individual. Most recently, we launched a proprietary genetic test, allowing our practitioners to get even more dialed in to their patients' health. To learn more about Professional Health Products, please talk to your practitioner or visit our website at phpltd.com.
Today, your life is going to be altered. I'm Dr. Cindy.
Welcome to Infinity. We have worked hard to create an electronic claims website that is simple and user-friendly. This is the public side. You can log into your personal web portal here. This is your dashboard. You can personalize it to your liking here. Our main focus has been to allow you to submit and edit claims as easy as possible. You will find our claims editor and claims processing is simple to use and straightforward. Our quick action bar is where you can find your most important information. Most of these icons will take you directly to the claims the number represents. You can easily view if you have any messages in your inbox of any unread alerts by looking for these blue numbers. To view the rest of our training videos to get the most of your Infinity experience, click this icon. We hope you find this web portal simple and easy to use. Thanks for letting us serve you.
I'm Dr. Cindy. Who wouldn't want to join me for the Positively Altered podcast? I'm glad you returned, and thank you for taking a quick listen to the sponsors, because after all, they're super important to me. Now, I'm going to introduce you to my guest, Jan Jones. But before I say welcome to Jan, I want to share with you something a little quirky. As most of you know, I have a private practice and I do a ton of lab work. And when I do lab work, I'm always looking at thyroid function, cardio function, liver function, kidney function. And I have this sort of off-center joke where I say, your liver's really important. Don't piss it off because you only have one. If you're going to upset an organ, maybe it should be a kidney because you have two. And then you meet somebody who has a kidney that isn't behaving exactly like it should, and you kind of take back the joke and rethink about how important the organs are. So today we're going to learn as to why I should take that back and tell you that taking care of your kidneys is equally important as your liver. Jan Jones, the host of the Good Life podcast, and my new friend after we shared the stage, if you will, on screen together. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you today.
Thank you, Dr. Cindy. I am overjoyed to be with you.
Oh my gosh. See, and there's that enthusiasm that I love already. It's not like this is great. Overjoyed is such a strong, powerful word. So thank you for using that. And I believe you. I feel the energy that comes off of you, that what you say you actually mean. And it's really fun to be around that kind of energy. So let's just jump right in, right? Like, so kidneys, so maybe it's important to have two of them that function well. So tell me from your perspective, what was your experience like? Share with our audience, right? Like what you went through where they're thinking kidneys, like who cares about kidneys? I care about kidneys. What happened to you, and where was the adversity in something so amazing that you really had to figure out how to overcome?
Oh, yeah. Well, you're right. Oftentimes we kind of take our organs for granted because they're working automatically. But my challenges in life actually started when I was 8 years old and I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Now, that has to do with your pancreas. So, another organ here, but there was no family history. They said that a virus attacked my pancreas and completely shut it down. So I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes since I was 8, where I was insulin dependent. And, I'll just tell you, I was very fortunate with the parents that I had and the community of support that I had because I really was that kid, I'm sure, much like you. Nothing was going to ever slow me down, even a deadly, incurable chronic disease. So I really lived my whole life like that, but battling the type 1 diabetes. But in my mind, I really was so much more than just that diagnosis. So you would rarely hear me say that I was a type 1 diabetic. You would hear me say I had type 1 diabetes because to me, that was more of just, I got to manage this, but I'm still living this full life. Well, I'll fast forward. I started having kind of some textbook complications, severe neuropathy in my limbs, wounds that wouldn't heal. I was in a coma for a week when I was in junior high. I've had major eye surgeries, and eventually I went into renal failure. And here's where the talk of the kidneys comes in because it literally shut down both of my kidneys. Because you're absolutely right, as a doctor, we can live with one kidney, but I had just no kidney function. I mean, I had a little bit left. It was end stage renal failure. So I was told I needed a transplant yesterday when I got the news. And it wasn't a lack of them monitoring my kidneys because my function had been falling through the years, but we don't have to have 100% function to be fine and live normal, fulfilling lives. But mine had fallen off a cliff. In fact, I kind of joke, I must have had a look of shock on my face because I was in shock. My doctor actually drew a ball falling off a cliff. Like I didn't know what you just fell off a cliff meant. I had a visual now. And, in my mind, I was in shock. And we started immediately talking about nephrologists and dialysis education and heart problems and this and that. And I got to my car just trying to absorb all of this. And then it hit me. Cindy, it hit me. I was like, oh, I know what happened. It's a mistake, right? I mean, my name is Jan Jones. It's a pretty common name. So I just knew they had made a mistake. But, it wasn't a mistake. And so I was facing a really hard challenge. I mean, at this point, we all know that we have a short time on this earth when you think about eternity, but I was literally facing my own mortality in the face. But I think your approach to life, it was definitely my approach to life, just being positively altered by all of the ups and downs I like to say it's kind of like a fight. I kept getting punched, but man, it wasn't going to knock me down. I wasn't going to have a knockout, right? So I was just going to fight this the best I could with my healthcare providers. For me personally, I lean into my faith, the people that love you, you surround yourself with that and you just follow the orders of the people in your life, the doctors, and you have to trust them. So it's a lot of tests of endurance, of perseverance, of trust, of faith, of surrender. And I did eventually get the call and they found a match. And here's like the biggest miracle for me personally is I became a double organ transplant recipient because I not only got the kidney that saved my life, but I also received a pancreas. So I actually have a pancreas now that produces insulin. So I am no longer a type 1 diabetic. I'm no longer attached to an insulin pump. I can eat whatever I want to eat. It's just been quite a ride, and I am enjoying the ride. I mean, you mentioned my podcast. My tagline is love living and live loving. And organ donation obviously is something I advocate for. And if it wasn't for my donor and his family that supported that decision, I wouldn't even be here with you today. So lots of lessons learned. And that was, believe it or not, the short version.
Right? So I have a lot of questions off of that, but I think the burning one for me, right? Because I don't have that experience, right? Like my organs are my organs. And although, I had some struggles with my own blood, it's still my own blood. So do you know your organ donor? Is it weird to know that there's somebody else's organs in your body, right? Like, is it something you forget about? Do you think about it daily? Did you name them? I mean, like, what happens when you get somebody else's organs? What's the thought process there that you
Yeah,
experience?
so I never stop thinking about my organ donor. I mean, and this makes me very weepy because I'm so grateful for the choice that he made to register to be an organ donor. Something I say a lot is that today's decisions are tomorrow's realities. And his decision to be an organ donor made my life, I mean, my reality life. So I'm grateful every single day. Is it a strange thought process? Absolutely. It's funny you asked, did I name them? Because I was so fortunate to get two, and I received my transplant in 2011. So I have just this year celebrated 13 years. But it was the year that, oh gosh, Prince William and Kate got married. And everybody was like, oh, you should name them like a royal name. I never really named my new organs, but it is a strange sensation. It can often wash over me that it's very bittersweet. For me, it's like this miracle of life, but I know that it was at the cost of someone else's life. But I also do believe there are things that every single one of us, that we are the only ones that can do those things. And to me, this was just one of the things that only this young man could do for me. And that's why it was on his heart to register. I never met his family. I live in Alabama, and so you go through our organ procurement organization to reach out to the family. And I did very regularly. I sent them that first letter, which was like, so hard to write because it's like, how do you thank a family for this? And then I would send them cards and things, but they never actually reciprocated that they wanted to meet me. And I totally get it. They were probably moving on, but I was told they really did appreciate, my thoughts, my cards and letters. So I never met them, but it's all good. I think of them every single day. I'm grateful for that support. I'm grateful for this whole miraculous process. I mean, the fact that someone years ago thought, hey, when one life is over, we can save more lives. I mean, one donor can save up to 8 lives. And I just thought, wow, back in the day, and even today, it feels a little science fiction. I mean, it doesn't seem real. And I just live every single day so grateful, Cindy, just so grateful. Even when I'm like fussing about stuff or stress is getting to me or the little things, and I catch myself, I'm like, come on, Jan, like you're alive. And that's the biggest miracle of all for me. So it's a good reminder to not let life wear you down.
Right. So I'll share with you. So I am an organ donor as well, with the
Thank
exception.
you for doing that.
Well, hold on. I have stated, my family knows this, that you are absolutely able to donate my organs that would save somebody's life, but under no circumstances are you to take my eyeballs.
Oh,
And I have this weird thing about eyeballs. I don't like my eyeballs being touched. I won't wear contacts. Like I got this,
yeah.
I don't know where it comes from. I have no childhood crazy story, but there's something about my eyeballs. It creeps me out completely to know they would extract the eyeballs from my sockets. And I figure sight at least isn't life threatening. So maybe a little selfish that I want to keep those, but at least, you can live without eyes. So anybody can
Well,
have
I
the
do
organs,
want to
but you can't have my
remind
eyeballs.
you. I want to remind you, you won't know what they're doing when they. Because I'll
Well,
tell you, actually, I have a friend that received cornea transplants, and now he has sight. So just put it in the back of your head.
I don't know, Jan, and I'm sure there's listeners out there going, "That's ridiculous and selfish and childish," but I gotta
No,
I gotta think
everybody's
about
got.
the eyeballs, Jan. So again,
Yeah,
like I got a good thyroid. I think the liver I've taken pretty good care of. I got 2 good kidneys at the moment. So again, like all those organs are fair game. Are you an organ donor?
oh, of course,
Are
yes.
they?
And,
Now,
I don't know what that will look like when I am called home by my heavenly Father, but I will let them do whatever they can take and can help somebody, because it's organ, eye, and tissue. So even your tissue can save burn victims,
yes.
and there's so much that medicine can do. I always say healthcare makes the impossible possible.
When my family buries me, we're gonna need a coffin that like just big like a jewelry box to put my eyeballs in.
Yeah.
And then they can use
That's
everything else.
okay.
So
You're
they'll just be my
still gonna
eyeball,
save lives. You're still gonna save lives.
just just not sight. Now, is there any repercussion with that being that a couple of your organs were already transplanted? Could they still be used again then in theory?
I don't know. I kind of doubt it. Since I am not a clinician, I would hate to answer anything incorrectly. But in my, reasonable mind, I would think I'm not sure like a third person could, but I've got other things that hopefully they can use. So yeah, that's actually a really good question.
All right, so
Um,
I'll give the kidneys and the pancreas, you give the eyeballs. How's that?
yeah, yeah. See,
All right,
like
we'll tag
together
team.
we are a
Yes.
complete donor.
Yes,
Yeah.
we will tag. See, no longer selfish. I found my partner in crime, so that when we're
Yep.
ready to leave this earth, we can help somebody in full. All right,
Teamwork
perfect.
makes the dream work.
Right, perfect. Now, when this happened, did you have any sort of rejection or problems, like, or was it smooth sailing, piece of cake? You just, it took.
It took, and I'm so grateful for that. I mean, I take a great deal of medication, so I have a very suppressed immune system, and that any transplant recipient goes through that. Um, it I was very lucky in the fact that really my kidney and the pancreas did immediately kick into action in my body. It's a tough recovery for this particular transplant, well, for all of them, but to receive the kidney and the pancreas, it was about a year-long recovery for me.
Okay.
So it was a little slow. There were setbacks, but that's why healthcare is so important and just so amazing, is they were right on top of every lab, every result, and they would bring me back into the hospital. They would sort it out, and I would go back home. So, a few visits like that, and I still get checked very regularly. In fact, today, as we are together on this show, I had a transplant appointment this morning, or this afternoon, and it was all really good news. So,
Oh, that's
there's
fantastic.
challenges when you have ongoing medications, and you're doing this balancing act of like new organs and function and things like that. So I face new challenges now, and they come pretty regularly. The medicines are tough,
Okay.
but they're worth it. When you think about being here, and I think sometimes when some of the side effects start to hit, I really do think, you know what? I'm here to experience these things.
Me too.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. So I'm here to feel this pain of this side effect, and that's okay because I really am enjoying this good life.
I love it. My joke always is we're alive to complain about it. And that's a good thing because it's better to be alive to complain than dead with no complaints.
Absolutely. And I know you can relate to that.
I
Yeah.
can. Okay, so let's change gears for a hot second because one of the challenges I know that people call me out on after they hear my story is they're like, come on, like, this is ridiculous that you always had a good attitude and you always saw the gift in things. And, cancer, like, I joke that cancer is fun, but for me, I figured out how to make cancer fun, right? So it wasn't really a joke. So where your energy is contagious and your enthusiasm is inspiring. And, for those of you that are listening and not watching, when she said things like deadly disease, she had a smile on her face. How do you A, do that? And then B, were there really moments of like, I'm a victim and I feel sorry for myself and this sucks? And, were there some real moments that way though, too, interspersed with all the happiness, the joy, and the outlook? And how did you figure out, how to really do what you do to get through this gracefully?
Yeah, well, and thank you for saying I'm getting through it gracefully. Of course, there were moments. There were moments of yes, this sucks, and I think for me personally, I was diagnosed with the type 1 diabetes so young. I just really don't remember a time where I wasn't, checking glucose levels and pricking my fingers and giving shots and watching my food and having complications and in the hospital and, getting out of the hospital. And so I was kind of used to this world of healthcare. It's really interesting because in my mind, always, since I was a kid, it never entered into my thoughts that it wouldn't work out. Like, it'll
Okay.
work out. When they told me, I could lose a foot one year, that was something that almost happened. And I just, again, faith, prayer, friends, everybody lifted me up. I was just like, well, surely that won't happen. Like, it will work out. I've got an incredible healthcare team. And I was the kid that was into everything. I mean, I started entering talent competitions when I was in the first grade. And I was the one telling my parents, oh, hey, I've entered this, or oh, hey, I sent off an essay to enter my dog into the Great American Dog Search. I mean, my parents had to wave their white flag very early on. And I give them so much credit now as an adult because they could have been real, like, keeping me close because I was trying to manage this disease and all of that. And in my mind, and I was all about winning a trip. I would enter these competitions or a pageant or whatever that would send me somewhere. So, I got to go to LA and be in a spread of a magazine because I made it to the finals of this contest. And, my dog competition, I entered my little, like, humane society puppy into. We would have won a trip to New York. And I mean, like, I just loved life. And I, in my mind, always thought, well, somebody's got to win it.
You're right,
Why
might as
can't
well
it
be
be
you.
me? If I do
Absolutely.
the work, why can't it be me? And I remember when there was a point when I was in renal failure. And I'll tell y'all, and people know this, waiting for anything is
Mhm,
kind of grueling and excruciating. And
mhm.
I was waiting on life. I mean, I was very sick and just, it was not looking good. And, to wait for a kidney can be 5 to 8 years. There
Right.
are over 100,000 people waiting on a kidney, and about 18 people die a day on the wait list. And that's just a kidney. There's so many organs that people are waiting on. But I remember one day it hit me like a ton of bricks. Somebody's got to win it. And in my mind, that meant somebody gets these calls. There are matches for people. And I was really at peace about it, regardless of what this outcome was going to be. I feel like God just put it on my spirit. Just hold on, just wait. Because there were people trying to be a living donor, to give me that kidney, because that's an organ you can donate as a living donor.
Right,
And
right.
no one was ever a match. And
Interesting.
I would get a little down and I'd be praying and I'm like, okay, God, we've got willing participants here. Like, what's the hold? Like, where's my match? And I see now it was like, just wait.
Mhm.
Just wait,
Right.
because I would not have received that pancreas. And so I was just in this mode of pause. I felt like someone had hit that pause button. And the way I really got through it, and especially on the days that I was kind of like, ho hum, okay, here's another day. I mean, you asked, did I have moments? There were nights that I was actually afraid to fall asleep
Yeah,
because
sure.
I was afraid that I wouldn't wake up.
Yeah.
But I would eventually drift off, and then I would wake up and I would just, wait more and do what the doctors were telling me. I was having to go to anemia clinics and, cardiovascular people. And when one organ shuts down, and I didn't realize how important our kidneys are and how connected they are to our heart, but it just throws everything off. And
Yeah.
so I leaned in to support and love
I
and
love it.
prayer and pet therapy. I'm big on animals. That's a huge, like, just calming force for me as well. But people sending a text, an email, dropping by, and I mean, it wasn't even anything major, just, hey Jan, I'm thinking about you. And that would mean the world to me, that people remembered I was still on this wait list. So I encourage everybody. I mean, that's just a way to show love, and it doesn't take but a few seconds. You don't have to go into all this detail. You can just say, hey, I remember you and I'm thinking about you. And
I
that
love it,
means so
man.
much. So it wasn't just me alone with a good attitude getting through it, but I was feeding off of other people as well.
I love it. Well, Jan Jones, you might not have won, the physical lottery, but you certainly won the organ lottery, and I'm super thrilled. Everybody, hang tight. We're going to listen to a couple more sponsors. So, refill that glass, take a little bathroom break, flush those kidneys, good water. Make sure you're not holding your urine. That causes urinary tract infections, eventually affects the kidneys. So, a little plug for your kidney health. We're going to be right back, and then we're going to do something fun. This is your weekly dose of Dr. Cindy, the Positively Altered podcast. Stop, hit that follow button now, and spread the love with Positively Altered. Welcome back. Those kidneys are flushed, and we are still here with my friend Jan Jones, who has overcome some pretty significant adversity and hosts her own podcast called The Good, Good Life. Jan, real quick, and we're going to finish this way too, but I've got some rapid fire fun questions for you. But just so everybody knows, how do they find The Good, Good Life?
Oh, well, they can find The Good, Good Life. Just Google it. It is on all of your podcast platforms. But also, hey, there's a website called thegoodgoodlife.com. And you can also find my website at jjmotivate.com.
I love it. Okay, so you ready for the questions?
Oh, gosh, I hope so.
Okay, they're not hard. You ready? Question number
Yeah.
1. If you could change snow to be any color in the world except the color it is, what color would you pick?
Oh, purple.
Oh, that was okay, easy. Is
I
purple your
love
favorite?
purple. It's my favorite color. Can I tell you a funny story about purple? I know
Yeah.
I'm I'm like interrupting the rapid fire, but
Yeah,
when
but
I was
that's
a little
okay.
bitty kid, like my mom and my brother were dyeing Easter eggs, and in the old days there were like these tablets that would turn the water a certain color. And my brother, his name was David, and he was like, "Mom, where's the purple pill, the purple tablet?" And my mom was like, "We didn't have a purple one." He goes, "Yes, we did." And they look over at me. I'm probably like 3 years old. I've got purple coming all out of my mouth. So since I was a little bitty girl, I've been drawn to purple.
Well, my answer would have been purple too. And you and I so far on these podcasts are the only two people that pick purple. So again, we'll donate and we're going to live in a world where snow is purple.
I
All
love
right,
it.
next question. If you had to pick a drink, would it be sweet, sour, or strong?
Sweet.
Awesome. All right. Everybody always wants to know the one famous person that you would pick to have lunch with, whether they're famous or, well, they're famous, whether they're dead or alive. I actually really don't care who you would have lunch with at all. I want to know what meal you would eat when you have that lunch.
Oh gosh, yeah, because I was like, I don't even know what famous person. A meal. Uh, wow, that's hard because here's the problem, City. I love food. Like, I really love food. You can feed me almost anything, but I'm super sensitive to really, really spicy stuff. So I wouldn't want it to be too spicy. But I mean, I love Chinese food. I love Mexican food. I love all kinds of American bistro. Like, I love Italian. I
So
don't
buffet
discriminate
for you,
against food.
Jan. We're sending you to a buffet with your famous person. All right.
Yes.
Buffet. All right. Awesome.
That's a good thank you for giving me my answer
Buffet.
because I didn't know.
Yep. You got, listen, I'm here to assist, Jan. I mean, we got to help each other. We got to lift each
Yeah.
other up here. Okay. If you could be an Olympic athlete and excel at any sport that takes place in the Olympics, what sport would you pick?
Wow. I mean, if I could,
Yeah.
I would love to fly like those gymnasts do in the air. I would love to do that. Just like jump and run and twist and turn and yeah, I would love that.
Okay. So which apparatus would you get the gold medal in?
Floor. I would do floor. I would
Okay.
want to because I don't want to be on that 4-inch balance beam.
Right. I'm with you on that.
I have really bad neuropathy now because of my medications and because of the diabetes. I would fall on my face every time. So
Okay, Florida is.
yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
throw in an extra question for you just because you said that you love your dog. If you could be any animal on the planet except for a dog, what animal would you be?
Well, okay, I'm gonna go like super simple, but I'm gonna go cat because we also have a cat. And the reason I'm gonna pick cat, since you wouldn't let me pick dog, is cats are so confident and it's their world and we're just living in it, right? And so they choose when they want to be around you, and you know, they just do them all the time. So
So
I guess
you're
I'd
going
go
to get
cat.
that little paw up, snapping the fingers, right? And strutting across the room with attitude. I love it. All
Oh yeah,
right.
and I love the tail up, you know.
Oh,
So
listen, of course. You can't have that between your legs cowering. Up, shiny little bow on the ends, a little bling, something fun. Of course. Come on. Absolutely. All right. And my last question. What was your favorite thing about doing the podcast today?
oh my gosh, just spending time with you and just like spreading some word about organ donation and getting to just share about how positive and positive energy and attitude are a huge part of enjoying this life.
I love it. So I will tell everybody out there my favorite thing about this podcast was just your message, right? Kindred spirits, we've got to keep spreading the word that no matter what kind of crap comes your way, there is a way to get over it, through it, under it, around it, and come out on the other side. Have a good time and then spread the message so that we can get other people to do the same thing. So, everybody, please make sure that you check out my guest podcast, The Good Good Life. Miss Jan Jones, it is always a pleasure to spend time with you. And for those of you that haven't picked up my book yet, make sure you get Positively Altered, Finding Happiness at the Bottom of a Chemo Bag, and check me out at drcindyspeaks.com. Jan, I don't know when, but we're going to do this again. Thank you so much for being just such a fun guest. I hope everybody takes a listen and finds you.